I have to talk about this. I don't get along with my family because when you don't get along with someone, you just don't. To such an extent that when I think about them, they don't feel like my family. When I think about my mother, for example, I don't feel like she's my mother. It's absurd to think that I had any relationship with her in my life. They didn't abuse me in any way. I just don't get along with them, and I would say, I don't know if I don't want to call it abuse because I don't want to make something that's not that serious to sound serious. And if a parent yelling at their child, you can't call it abuse. Yeah, any form of violence is abuse. Even if it's just a raise in your voice. It is abuse. And she did abuse me by yelling at me, making me feel like the only wrong person in the family. Whenever I say this, I feel like I'm making this sound too severe because I like to use words like violence or abuse because I kind of feel like it didn't happen. She just yelled at me, and she didn't do it to hurt me. She did it because of her anger, because of her, you can say, emotional problems, because of her unconsciousness. That's it. She didn't do it to hurt me. I think abuse is something you do intentionally to hurt someone, but that doesn't make sense, to be fair. Okay, sometimes people can do things not to hurt the other because they're not completely thinking about the other person at all. They're not thinking about the other person at all. They're thinking about themselves. No matter it's a pleasure or pain, a person can hurt another out of their own pursuit of pleasure or their own pain. In my case, it's my family or my mother's pain. So, if I don't like to call what she did abuse, because she didn't do it because she wanted to. She did it because she had to. There's no other way. And at the same time, I do not deserve anything that was done to me. There's nobody that's wrong in this relationship. It's just two people agreed to have this life experience together so that we both can learn something. Even though it's just one sentence that I don't understand. And I have to say, as a child, more than once, I thought about killing her, or not like seriously. I would fantasize about her becoming a robot. Sometimes I think if only my mom was a robot, she could just cook for me and go to work. If that was all she did, no interaction between me and her, that would be good. And that was when I was like 10, 11, 12. While I was in elementary school, I still lived with her. And thankfully, during my middle school and high school years, we had very few time spent together because I was boarding school, like most schools. I would only go home once a week or once a month. To be fair, we spent very little time together. Maybe that's one of the reasons why when I think of her as my mother, that's just really pure absurdity. And how we have very, very countable experiences together. I remember only once when she took me and the dog out. Just that once, I remember. The other time is she took me out to a place for fun. Other times is either it's all like she and my stepfather and me, where when she would just be talking with him, not really with me. And you want to say our relationship, when you look at our relationship, and we probably would want to say, hey, she's not interested in me. Or when I look at our relationship, I would say, look, she isn't really interested in me. She doesn't care what my favorite color is. She doesn't care what my passion is. She doesn't care what I truly want to do in life. She doesn't care about me. But she cares if I live well, if I make enough money to sustain myself. She cares about that more than my own happiness. She believes there's a fixed way towards happiness that everybody needs to go on to, and she doesn't care where I want to go. She cares if I am on that path. That's her logic. That's her philosophy. That's what's her path that she's on. A steady job, even if she hates it day and night, every single second of it. But it's a steady job, and with the retirement guarantee, stuff like that. She wanted me to be on a path like that, to get financial stability first before thinking about dreams and passion. Everything else, they matter less. To herself too, and to anyone in her family. She believes that's her philosophy, and that severely goes in contradiction with my philosophy. I'm a pure radical. I don't like to use the word radical because it sounds more negative than positive or neutral. It's not a neutral word. I just wanted to point out how opposite we are, me and my family. Because my whole family agree with her, whatever she believes. They live by that philosophy too, and that was torture to me. Because of that, it's like hell for me to live with them, to be with them, to be a part of the family. It's like hell. And actually, even if she could believe in that philosophy, and that doesn't explain how she seems so uninterested in me. She doesn't know anything about me. She doesn't care to know. Because she never asked. Like, she never asked, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite book? What's your favorite movie? What movie you're watching? We would never have a personal conversation like that. Whenever we would talk, she would only ask about, like, my school. Or she would ask what kind of plan I would have in the future. And then she asks that not because she cares what I want to do, but she only cares whether or not the thing I would want to do would match with her standards, her philosophy. She doesn't care what I wanted to do. Like, for example, if I wanted to be an artist and I talked to her about it, she would be anxious, she would be mad, she would be angry, she would be disappointed, she would be sad, all that stuff. Because what she was saying was not what I wanted to do, my passion, my dream. The only thing she was saying was this match of of what I want to do and what she wanted, what she believes success is. So I can't blame her for anything, because she doesn't have a choice. She's born and raised in that family and everything. I mean, to be fair, me too. I don't know how come I ended up being completely the opposite of what my family was. I mean, I lived with them. I have no idea. That's just bizarre. Like, how come my home family agrees with that philosophy? And I was raised by them, but I grew up being completely different person. I was born and raised in this country, the society which that believes in that too. But how come I grew up to be completely the opposite of that? So that explains why I don't get along with them perfectly, right? You can see that. It's perfect. It's not something that you can. There's no space for understanding because for them, they're driven by fear. They're driven by the survival stress. There's no space for a negotiation in this. When you are constantly being chased after by a tiger, and you feel like you feel the need to take your children, take your family with you on the path of stress, to run away from something, there's no space of negotiation. Not at all. So I do not expect them to understand me. They never tried to understand me at all because all they were seeing was that limited version of life and world that they deadly believe in to death. There's no way to explain them otherwise unless there's no way, just no way, no space, no room for understanding. And I can see that clearly. I didn't even need to try, with intuition, with experience, with intelligence. I can see that. So, actually, that was just one part of our relationship. The other part is her, emotional problem. She has this thing with. She's really an angry person. She would yell at me. She would constantly, every single day, I was so used to her blaming me for something. I mean, she would not yell at me every single day, but she would blame me for something every single day. And, for example, for misplacing something, for not keeping my room tidy enough. For blaming me for when I eat, if I just very small things, and she didn't do that on purpose to abuse me, but she did it because again, what I was doing was not, I was not live up to her standard or something. And that gave me a feeling, that gave me this feeling of, I was convinced, without even, without using even my intelligence. Just, the internalization of living with them. I was convinced that she would want somebody else better to be her daughter. And that's what she tended to say. Like, she said it like, I don't remember, not many times, less than 3, probably 2-3 times, that she really envy other people's daughter. So anyway, when I was in that family, and the problem is, I was living with them, and whenever I was in that family, everybody agreed with her opinion, her attitude, her philosophy. So whenever she blamed me for whatever, for misplacing something, for not wanting to do the right, with quotation marks, the right things for my future, the whole family would agree with her. Nobody would agree with me. No space for me to be backed up. Nobody was backing me up. So I felt so wrong, I felt I was the wrong person. For a long time, I felt I was the wrong person. I'm not good enough as a daughter. I am not right. They are right. I'm not right. Or I don't know. It's like an unconscious belief. It's not conscious. It's subconscious or it's habitual. Like I did not think about it. I did not give this. I wouldn't say it's even a thought. The thought that I'm wrong. It's just a feeling. I feel wrong. Yeah. There's no thoughts like okay I am wrong. There's no like a verbalized thought, a formed thought about me being wrong. I just felt wrong. Okay, whenever she started to blame me, I felt wrong. That's it. And I did not give it any thought. I felt wrong always whenever I was with them. Whenever they blamed me, I always felt wrong. And also because she's so intimidating. Her and her anger, her raising a voice. I'm a very sensitive person. I cannot take being yelled at. That's just too violent for someone like me. I can't take it. But that's that's basically how my life was when I was with them. I got yelled like at least once a week. And I always felt wrong. Whenever I was blamed, I always felt wrong. So, living with them, there is literally no space for joy and happiness in this relationship. In our relationship, there's no space for joy or happiness or love. Do you think it's love? I don't know. I think when a person is too blinded, as they don't have the ability to love. Like for people like my family, they're so blinded by fear, by anxiety, they do not have the ability to love, to like the authentic, genuine desire to understand and see another person, especially the person they believe are the most important in their life, like their family. They do not have the ability or room in their mind for love, for understanding, for genuine non-judgment. There's always judgments present, always, and I can't blame them for that again. Even if I'm saying this, I'm not blaming them. I cannot blame them. But whenever I think about my mother, like for example, just living my day, for example, like 10,000 thoughts go past my mind every single day, and some thoughts are about my mother. Whenever these thoughts arise in my head, it would not normally be like a piece of memory with her, and it is always negative, and I would just start blame her like automatically. For example, like I'll be cleaning, washing dishes, and suddenly I think about my mom yelling at me for something or blaming me, or her facial expression when she does that. I just feel this hatred, this anger. And it's not hatred, it's anger. I feel so angry. I was washing my dishes, for example. I'm washing my dishes and I think about something. I think about this memory and I just start to curse at her. I just a fucking bitch, I would say. So I do blame her, but I'm telling you I shouldn't blame her. That's a decision made by my intellectuality. But by my impulse, my instinct, my habit, my reaction is anger, is blaming. I can't help but blame them. Blame her. She's the major person that I have a problem with in the family. So, and I would dream of her, for example, and then in my dream I would argue with her, and I would wake up angry thinking about her and calling her bitch again. Well, when I was in that family, like I said, I always felt wrong. That was before the age of 18 or 20. Actually, before the age of 19. Our face-to-face conflict happened at my age of 18. After that, I left. I left completely. I left. I never went back. I never saw them again after that, and I do not regret it for a second. So, what was I trying to say? I forgot. Anyway, you can see, I mean, it explains perfectly our relationship. It's one of pain for me, for them as well. I often think maybe, they would be happier if she had a different daughter that would live completely by her own philosophy as well, live driven by fear and anxiety and social expectations, money, stability, stuff like that, rather than passion, love, enthusiasm, which I live by. If they had a daughter that was like that, she would be happier. Probably, I don't know. And I do not feel like she's my mother. She is the biological instrument that gave access, that gave birth to this physical shell that I abide in. That's it. She is not my mother. I do not feel comfortable saying that she is my mother. No, she isn't. I feel closer to a stranger than I feel to her. And I feel pretty much the same for the rest of the family. I have less intense feelings about for the rest of my family, but still, like, I do not feel positive with them. When I think about them, I think of bitterness, I think of hell, I think of stuff like that. I do not think of home, warmth, love, safety. No. So, the pain is, sometimes I kind of wish that they had abused me intentionally. So now I just kind of feel, because I feel like many people's parents are like, many people's family is like that. I feel like I do not have sufficient excuse to just leave them completely behind me without being able to forgive them completely. And I just feel shame. I feel I'm being, for example, too sensitive. I feel like whatever happened in our relationship was not a big deal. There wasn't violence. There wasn't abuse. There wasn't, like, I was raped, for example. I was not. She did not even beat me. I felt like now I want them completely out of my life. I feel like what I'm doing is a little bit too much. But that's generally what I want. If there's a pill that I could make them take to forget me completely, to never want to call me again, to never want to contact me again, I would make them take it. I want them to forget me completely. That's what I want. And I feel like I don't have enough excuse for that, for wanting that. Because whatever they did, for what, they didn't do it to hurt me, to harm me. They actually did the things they did because they wanted what they think is good for me. They didn't even never try to hurt me or to harm me. But at the same time, I just cannot be in be their family. I can't. I don't want to have anything to do with them. I don't want them to have anything to do with me. That's what I really want. Because I do not see space room for anything else than this. And this is a perfect solution. I've been living this. And I feel fine. I feel great. But then, my mother, she keeps texting me, asking, just texting things like, it's holiday now, and it's the season for eating this type of mushroom. If you want, I will mail some to you. And she would text me like that. Or she would say, oh, it's the season for eating this type of cake, and if you want, I would want to send some to you. She also apologized, She realized that she was being too violent with me, with her voice, with me. She yelled too much. She realized now that she did wrong, but I don't trust her. Okay, I can take that apology, but I do not trust you enough to be able to go back to you, because I personally firmly believe that if we lived together, she would start yelling again. Because that's who she is. There's no way that she could change that. I mean, what I imagine is if we ever lived together, let's say if we moved in together in one house, she might be able to control herself for the first few months without yelling. But gradually she would start yelling again. Gradually everything would turn into exactly what it was before I left. That's what I believe. That's not what I believe. That's what I know. That's what I know to be true. That's what I think. That's what I can't be convinced otherwise of. So and the second thing is, our philosophy can never converge. She would never understand. I don't know. Maybe she would. I don't know, to be fair. And I don't care. I don't care. I do not care. I don't care about being a family with them again. I mean, I'm fine right now. I'm perfectly fine. I'm perfectly okay about our current relationship, which is no relationship. I am so grateful for this. I'm at peace, with what is now. But the thing is, my grandma, she would want to call me all the time. Once a couple of several months, she would want to call me, and that makes me feel so guilty. That makes me feel so ashamed, because I don't want anything to do with them, but she seems to be caring about me. She would call me for just a few seconds to know that I'm okay. And every time after she called, I would just feel bad about myself. I just feel like I'm not I'm not great. All she wants is to have a call for just a few seconds to know that I'm okay. And I kind of feel like she's even afraid that she disturbed my life, so she keeps the calls for just a few seconds. But I do not want her to call, because I don't want them to have anything to do with me. And I tell myself, if she really cares about me, like I told her, please just call at most once a year. That would be enough. Call in New Year once every once a year, that'd be fine. I told her that. I thought she would respect that, but she just, again, I can't blame her. She just wants to know that I'm okay. She can't help but keep calling me once every few months to know that I'm okay. That's all she wants. And that makes me feel really bad for wanting her to never call again, because I feel she is disturbing my life. But at the same time, I feel like the fact, what I'm feeling is she is disturbing my life by calling me more than once a year, like we agreed to. She is disturbing my life. But she also calls me. She doesn't want to disturb my life. She can't help but call me more than once a year. I don't even want to bring it up again. That's to her. That's we did agree that she should call me only once a year. I don't even want to do that anymore, because she calls me just for a few seconds. She just called me just now for like 10 seconds. She called and she said, "Okay, are you okay? You're okay, right?" I said yes. And she said, "Okay, then go on doing whatever you're doing." And she said, "Okay, you're in vacation?" She asked another question, and then last thing she says, "Okay, then just keep on doing whatever you're doing." And she meant to hang up the phone, and I said, "Okay." And then we hung up. I felt like she's being careful, she's being cautious. She did not want to disturb my life. Before, she would call me for like more than 1 minute. She would ask me a few more questions, like, "Okay, did you eat today? Did you have dinner? You're okay, right? What are you doing?" And she would even tell me something about the family, something about my mom, something about my stepfather, something about my cousin, blah blah blah, which I do not want to hear, because she doesn't tell me anything good. She tells me things that's just things that are bad news. That's what they do. That's like a tradition in the family. When you call and tell something, it's never something good. It's always something bad. And they can't help but do that, and there's nothing I can do. I don't want to hear anything about the family. I do not care, to be fair. But from the bottom of my heart, I want them to be happy. I wish them well. I can't say I love them. Not at a personal level. I do not love them. But from the bottom of my heart, I want them to be well. I want them to be better than what I knew them to be. I want them to be well, really. If I could make them take a pill so that they could all have a spiritual awakening, or they could all suddenly start to do meditations, I would do it. That's what I wish them very well. I really, truly do wish. I pray for them. That's it. But again, I do not care about anything terrible going on in the family. I do not care. I don't care. I don't want to hear about it. There's nothing I can do. They are perpetuating whatever is going on in the family. If they have any problems, they themselves are the source of the problems. So there's nothing I can do unless they change. They truly want to change themselves. And I have this judger in my head that keeps judging me for everything that I've been saying. When I say I do not care about them at all, and I feel really ashamed for saying that. I feel really terrible. I feel, I'm a terrible person. I'm selfish. It's a feeling. It's not a thought. Again, it's a feeling. I feel bad. I do not care about them. I do not care about whatever is going on in the family. If I could, I would make them and myself take the pills to forget each other forever. Everything. To forget everything. I would. When I was not rid of them yet, I was constantly thinking, oh my God, if I could live without them, that would be so great. Living in the world without my family, that would be so liberating. I kept thinking about it when I was in college and university. I was not rid of them yet. I kept thinking about it because she was giving me so much horror. She was the source, one of the sources of my anxiety. She was causing me so much pain and horror. Whenever I saw her calling, she would call like once a week. Whenever I saw my phone ringing and it's her, I felt a sense of horror and anxiety raising. I got nervous. I got scared. I got fearful. I was scared of her. I still am. Not as much because she's out of me. I'm at peace now with our relationship. And I'm not terrified of her anymore. When I think of her now, I just think of a 50-year-old lady. That's it. Like a retired tiger. No longer a tiger. She was, but not anymore. She's not a threat anymore. She used to be a threat to me. I mean, again, I want to make sure that you understand that she did not abuse me. She never wanted to, tried to do anything to harm me. Maybe she was doing it, but unintentionally, unconsciously, uncontrollably. And at the same time, I do have the right to blame her. Because that's a reaction. That's not something I can control either. It's also something unconscious or driven by an unconscious force, uncontrollable, and it's reactive. If I had a choice, I choose not to blame her. But whenever I think about her, whenever I think about what she did, when she yelled at me, I hate her, I resent her, and I get angry, mad, even violent. I kind of think about slapping her on the fucking face. I would curse at her. Oh, damn. Even when I'm thinking about it right now, I kind of want to... If I could travel back in time in one of the periods when she was yelling at me, blaming me, if I could travel back in time in that scene, I would slap her on the fucking face and yell her to fucking shut the fuck up and stop. But no, I wouldn't really do it. If this time machine was really in front of me and if I could really go and do it, I wouldn't. For one, I am scared because she's my mother. At least according to the society, she is my mother. And second, I am not a violent person. I've never beaten anybody in my life, and I would never do it. No matter how much I feel like to, I wouldn't. And third, I understand perfectly well intellectually that she did not do any of that on purpose or to hurt me. If I was abused by a true, real abuser, to be fair, even rapists, they rape not to hurt the other person. They rape to satisfy their own needs. They do not rape to hurt another. Even if they want to hurt another, that would also be to please themselves. It was also about their own pleasure. Nobody ever hurts someone, okay, purely just for hurting them. Even when you're taking a revenge, you hurt another person because that makes you feel good. You do not hurt them just to hurt them for nothing, for not for your own perceived pleasure. So it's really hard to draw the line, what is a real abuse and what is not. She did not do, and I don't want to call it an abuse because the whole country's parents are just like that. The whole country, very few families are like ideal or anything less than that. I see that on the internet. I see it. I hear it from my classmates. I know their families are just pretty much like mine. So if I call what she did to me an abuse, to be fair, I'm not sure, I'm not sure if their parents would yell at them, would blame them, would make them feel wrong, would not make any room for a negotiation, with no self-reflection from their part, no obvious trace of self-reflection. Whenever she was blaming me, she was only blaming me. She was never thinking. Just maybe she could be thinking about it, doing a little bit of self-reflection afterwards. But the next time it comes, she continued. There was no sign of any change in the way she was treating me. She just kept treating me like that for years and years. No end. She would continue treat me like that had I not left that family. No doubt. Only after I left, she started really a revolutionary self-reflection. She started to realize her flaws. She started to realize the things she did. Okay. I think I did the right thing. Perfectly right thing. And there was no other way I could have done it. I wanted to leave. I left. So when they are struggling with their family, I do not understand why they just can't leave. And I do not want to listen to my family did this and that to me and I'm really struggling, I'm really anxious, I'm this and that with them, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Why don't you just leave them? Whenever people start complaining genuinely, not just complaining for fun, not truly meaning it, when they say their family's torturing them, making them really anxious, or their family is somehow abusing them, their family never trying to understand them at all, never showing any sign of trying to understand them at all. You're complaining about this, complaining about that, about their family. All I want to say is just, why can't you leave them? Just leave them. But, that's what I want to say, but now I've learned not to say it because, again, different people. I mean, this situation could be exactly the same or worse, but the person experiencing them is different. Me, in all of these situations, I would choose this one, the same thing, I would leave. But a different person in my situation, they wouldn't. Because we're different people. So the suggestion, the advice that I can give to people in those situations is what I would suggest myself to do, not them, because they're only telling me about their family, about their own family situation. They're not telling me anything about them. So all I can say is just leave, because that's what I would do exactly. And that's the only thing I know how to do. Just leave. And if you can't leave, I don't know, because I'm not you. I don't know how to be you, right? So I don't know any other advice I can give. So there's nothing I can say. And I do not want to hear more of this kind of story. First, I've had enough. Second, it really gets me in this negative loop thinking about it. And again, at the same time, there's nothing I can do about it. You don't want to leave, and you keep telling me about this family shit, some abuse, whatever. No love, a lack of love, and all of this going on. Okay, you're telling me this, and that makes me feel really bad. And second, there's nothing I can do. And you don't want to leave it, and I kind of feel like I cannot get along with somebody in the same situation, and I really feel I cannot empathize with them more. I can't. And there's nothing I can do, so I don't know what to do. I tell them that everything will be better. That's all I can say. Everything will be well. And I would just cry with them. I would cry for them. Or, I read this kind of shit online. Not so often anymore because I'm not attracting that kind of thing anymore. I used to, when I was still into negative things on the internet, I'd see people complaining about their parents. I mean, they have even worse family. At least from what they're saying, I kind of feel like their family is even worse. And that's just anything, whenever, like, any things about parenting, things about family, really get on my nerves. When I see parents being not basically good parents, I can't get more angry, and I don't want to get angry, so I just drop it. I just leave it. I just turn away. I just go and look at some other things. Now I just completely. Right? If you're looking at things, it's like watching bad news, right? Bad things happening in the world and you get angry. There's nothing else you can do but getting angry, and that doesn't help. It doesn't help you, doesn't help the world, to be fair, to be honest. As a matter of fact, that makes the world even worse. You sitting at home getting angry. You're truly empathizing with these people. You truly are. But you're not helping by getting angry, so just completely forget about news. Never watch them again. Never read any sob stories online from other people. If they're stuck in a situation, don't go and look for these kind of things to read. And when you see a video, for example, titled with such a title that suggests that this person's gonna talk about their sob stories with their family, how they're stuck, and all, if they can't leave, I don't know. You don't wanna get wrapped up in that negativity. It's not good for you. It's not good for the world. The good thing that you can do is to live your life to the fullest. To live your life, to lead your life with love. That's all you can do. Unless this love drives you to watch a video. For example, when a video like that shows up, and what drives you to watch that video is not anger, is not curiosity, is not anything like that, but love. If you genuinely love for that person, then watch that video. I totally understand. When I saw people complaining about their parents, I used to not, jump towards this kind of content I saw online, because I want to hear what other people are saying. I want to validate what I think about parents and family, and I would look at that and people would share their angry comments and I would really agree. And I would feel sad and angry. I feel this rush of anger inside of me that's trapped because there's nothing you can do, right? What can you do? You can't jump. You can't fly to that family and hit them, slap them on their fucking faces. So this anger you feel towards that kind of family is just trapped in your body. Okay, I'm off track. I think I'm not feeling good right now. There's nothing I can say, to be fair. You could be having the similar type of problems with your family, or even worse. And all I want to say is, it will become better. Things will resolve themselves because contradictions, conflicts, they aren't the nature of life. They aren't even the nature of you. Everything is striving to go back, to reach that balance of your true nature. So even if you do nothing, things would resolve. I thought I did nothing. It did not take me any time to think and make the decision to leave them. I just left as soon as I got a chance. That's no decision to make. That was not a decision. That was a spontaneous, natural flow of me. It was easy, and I understand that it's not the same for everyone. For some others, they can't leave. Somehow they can't leave, and I can't blame them for not wanting to leave their family or whatever. I might not be able to understand that because I'm not them. After all, I've not lived as them. So I would not understand why they can't leave. But like I said, everything will be better. Things will be better. Everything is improving. That's the natural flow of nature of this universe. Everything is getting better. Everything's always getting better. Always. In whatever way, everything's trying to get better. Whatever it is, everything is getting better. Everything is getting better. It's just in ways that you can't predict, you can't expect, and you can't understand. You don't get it until it happens. You don't get it until it happens. But they're finding their own very unique ways that your human mind, very limited consciousness, cannot understand. If that's all you know, what you are, you think you're this story, you think you're this human, there's no way for you to understand how life works, how the universe works. There's no way that you can trust this that I'm saying if all you think you are is this human shell story, this role that you're in. You wouldn't understand, you wouldn't trust, and I totally understand that. That makes perfect sense. But the fact is, as a matter of fact, things are getting well. Everything's getting well, getting better, and better. No matter you believe it or not, no matter if you want it or not, things are getting better for you. effortlessly. Like the wind blows effortlessly. So, well, what I would just suggest to everyone is to, I don't know who would watch this kind of video, but really, if someone was watching this video to this minute, and you probably, if you are wanting some really helpful advice, is you go and discover who you really are, what you really are. You can start by watching near-death experience videos. Or, if you want to take a different route, learn about Eckhart Tolle. I don't know how to pronounce that. Tolle. His book is The Power of Now. Near-death experience and The Power of Now. Pick one. But to be fair, I don't think anybody needs my advice or suggestion. Everybody has their own divine timing. If it's a time for you to really learn about what you really are, well, the doors will open, the paths would open. That's what happened for me. I did not need to do anything. Nobody needed to give me any suggestion, recommendation. Nobody had to point out a path for me. It just was there. I was on it spontaneously. I did not do anything. I don't need to do anything. In your life, you don't need to do anything. Just be present in your life, which you are. You are present in your life. You are this life. If you're not present here, you are not. Your life isn't here. Your life is here, so you're present here. That's all you need to do. That's all you need to do. Nothing more. No need to strive for anything. Strive for love. You don't have any other responsibility. The only responsibility you have is to lead with love. If you are finding an excuse to not do this, to not fulfill this duty of yours, you are avoiding your only responsibility in life is to lead with love too. Lead with love. If you're finding yourself trying not to do this or anything, you are avoiding your only responsibility. Any other responsibilities that you think you have, that you're convinced that you have, they aren't your responsibility. Your responsibility, again, is to lead with love. To lead with love. Everybody wants to do that. No matter they remember it or not, no matter they admit it or not, they want to do it. You want to do it. And I understand that you can't suddenly start doing it. You need something to tell you, to convince you that it's true. So jump in the rabbit hole. Well, if it's time for you, I do not need to be telling you anything. So I don't need to give anybody any suggestion or advice. The path would open when time is right. That's what happens. Always. So all I can say is thank you for listening to my sob story. Actually, why are you drawn to this kind of sob story? I made this video just so that I could talk about it because I was trying to distract myself after I answered the call from my grandma. I was feeling bad. I was feeling ashamed. I was feeling I was a terrible person. I was feeling all this mixture of different feelings, and I did not want to feel all that. I tried to distract myself, but I knew that it wasn't right, so I wanted to make a video so that I can have some space to analyze this for me. I feel great now. And I pray for them, my family. I still pray for them. I hope something would happen for them. The same things that happened for me, I want them to happen for them as well. Please. Before they die, come on. Let the light happen for them as well. I don't know how, but that's what I pray for them. I wish them well. From the bottom of my heart. Be well. Be better. Be happier. Discover the need, the only responsibility that you have. Well, I don't know how for them, but that's what I wish for them. And thank you. Thank you for listening.